and welcome to my channel. My name is Taiti and I'm a knitwear designer. Originally from Ukraine, I'm coming to you from Haarlem, the Netherlands. And this is a podcast in which I'm sharing my inspirations, projects on my needles and new designs. Please subscribe if you like it here and enjoy the episode. Hi everyone and welcome. It's Thursday, April 28th here in Netherlands. We had King's Day yesterday, celebration of our King's birthday. And today is Thursday, so I assume many people took a few days off to have a real nice long weekend and recover a little bit after the celebration. So today is very quiet and I guess everyone is just resting. So I took this quiet day to sit down and record a little bit of talking head video about the new projects that I'll have on my needles, about the new designs that are coming soon, and in this one as well I will show you the progress on my embroidered blouse that I'm sewing. So yeah, let's get started. First, if you're new here, originally from Ukraine. Me and my husband currently live in Haarlem, the Netherlands, but both our families are now in Ukraine, and the situation has been very unstable and unpredictable, of course, since there's war. If you watch the news, you know that the situation is very unstable and unpredictable. So basically there is, at this point, I don't think there is an area in Ukraine where you can say that you are 100% safe. They continue shelling all the territory and aiming mostly at the railway stations and like infrastructure objects, as they say, but in many cases they miss, or they use the old maps or stuff like that, so it gets really messy and nobody is safe. At least my family is trying to cope with it and don't let it ruin their routine, their lives. So my mom goes to work every day and luckily she still gets her salary regularly monthly, so that's a big relief for us. And they focus a lot of their energy now on doing the gardening and having potatoes put into the ground and prepare for the harvest to, no matter what happens, at least have food on the table. We talked with her before Easter, and she said that the supply chains, they're still working, so there are products in the supermarkets or in the shops, so there's still stuff there and there's opportunities to buy it, but the prices, they started growing slowly from February till now. It's already almost May, and on some products the price has risen twice. So that's the situation. For now it stays like this. There are no plans to evacuate or anything. So we are hoping that our army will keep the Russians at the borders, and hopefully with the help of EU and United States and Canada and all the other countries, we can fight this evil. But yeah, that's the situation on the Ukrainian front, and here I'm trying to keep my work going. As you probably know, for a knitwear designer, you always have many projects in the round on different stages, so it has to go, there is a circle of processes before, from start to finish, and it has to go smoothly to have a design coming up regularly, and that also reflects in my income. So I have to work. I cannot just stop, because then everything stops and at some point I won't have a design ready. So I'm trying to work and keep processes going as normal, so at least I am a reliable source when it comes to supporting our families. I've been also very much inspired by this uplift in Ukrainian spirit. I've been reading a lot about the history, about traditions and culture. It's been a big source of inspiration for me too, and you will see with my new design, a lot of it came from traditional clothing, and as well the project, the embroidered blouse that I started sewing from pieces that my grandma embroidered for me. That also had a lot of influence on my spirit. So it's I think in this strange way, through despair and fear, I came to a really good place when it comes to my Ukrainian roots. I'm really happy about that, and I feel like I'm slowly finding my place in this world. Another piece of big news here was that this week we actually received our documents, the permanent residence documents here to stay here in Netherlands, which basically means that, well, it doesn't change that much for me, but it does change a lot for my husband, who is now free to choose any job he likes. So he doesn't have to have a contract with a certain company who guarantees his work and his residence. Strange. And I was dependent on his residence as well, so it was a lot of stress on him, and now finally we are independent from each other and from each other's work, and we can both work as self-employed people or do whatever we like, and move freely, more freely. Of course, that doesn't change that we're Ukrainians and we still need a lot of visas and crazy stuff. But yeah, it's been a long process. We had to do a lot of exams and learn the Dutch language and the Dutch culture. And yeah, long story short, we are finally more or less settled here. And that will also take a lot of burden from our shoulders, not knowing where we're gonna end up. For now, we made our home here, and I hope it will stay that way for a while. Okay, enough talking. I think I will start showing you something. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Javelin Pullover, and I have to do a bit of an editing, but the pattern is almost ready, and I'm planning to have it out next Friday, May 8th. So that will be a big release for May. And yeah, it turned out super easy, super fast knit. Many of my testers finished within like a week or two after we started, and I was like, oh, I should have given them a more tight deadline. But yeah, it's been lovely. It's super easy. The pattern, you remember it really fast. There is a video in the pattern how to do it, and of course the rest is just smooth sailing with the stockinette, and the yoke is very roomy, so it's very easy to fit and to knit. So I think it will be a really nice fun project for both advanced knitters and beginners. The next design that I will be calling for testers this weekend is called Ornata Blouse. It is inspired by traditional embroidered Ukrainian blouses. You probably heard those embroidered shirts being called vyshyvankas, but the experts say that it's not a very correct term. So, because vyshyvanka means something that's embroidered, and it does not necessarily tells you what kind of garment that is, or an item, or I don't know, a towel, anything that could be embroidered. And a more technical term would be vyshyta сорочка, which means embroidered shirt. And regardless of that, I've been thinking a lot about the name for this design, and I didn't want it to be like too into your face, like this is Ukrainian or something like very obvious that people would think, you know. So for me, Ornata was a really nice name, because from Latin that means covered with ornaments, and that's exactly what this one is. It has a very plain body and big exaggerated sleeves with a lot of color work, which will mimic the embroidered sleeves in the traditional blouses. So I will try to insert here some pictures of the prototypes that I used for my inspiration, and here it is. It starts with this nice folded hem neck with little picots, and then there are some increases, like very steep increases, to get this nice pleats here, the draping, and then you cast on actually quite a lot of stitches on the underarm to have it nice and roomy, and get some extra stitches for the sleeves. And then on the sleeves as well, there is a tiny section here on the side, on the outer side of the sleeve, on the arm, where you cast on more stitches to have the sleeve really relatively to your body and to your arm width exaggerated and wide, and then they are gathered at the hem, just like a balloon sleeve will be. So I definitely think Kati, she just moved the camera. But yeah, I definitely think this is a very special design, and it might not be for everyday use and might not be for everyone. But I finished it around Easter and it was super, super nice for me. I don't know, for some reason it felt really special, because I also was hoping to finish the embroidered blouse sewing project, but that's not even close. So it was nice to finish this one and have this festive garment for the celebration. Yeah, the sister was very special in the way that I was rethinking the traditions, and yeah, I'm telling you, since the war started, I've been thinking a lot, and I'm not a very religious person. Well, I'm not a religious person at all, but many traditions in our family and in Ukraine in general, regardless of religious beliefs in certain families, they are connected to church and to Christian holidays. And I don't mind that in general. I really like traditions, and I think we should keep them no matter where we head with our beliefs. But traditions, they keep families together, they bring festive moods and spirits, and that's really nice, and I would like to keep that. So for the next Easter, I already have new plans for reviving our family traditions and establishing some new here in Netherlands in our tiny family, and I think that would be really lovely. So yeah, this one is almost ready for testing. I already called for testers on Patreon, and so I hope to start the test this weekend, and the pattern should be out in sometime in June. So stay tuned if you'd like to make one. I think it will work. This one is knit in John Arbon Textiles Yarnadelic yarn, which is a sport weight yarn, and I think it will work really nicely in like heavy fingering or light decay weight. And if you take something with linen or merino wool, or maybe even with cotton, it could be a really nice and light blouse for the spring. And yeah, because I don't think it will work very well for winter because of the sleeves. You will need to put the jacket on, so it's more like a garment for a season when it's still cold but not too warm, so you don't have to wear a jacket, but you can wear a nice warm sweater or a nice light sweater over a dress. That could be really, really nice. So I think now in a few days, when the temperatures will reach like 16 degrees Celsius, I will wear it over dresses and just go outside like that. So yeah, it might not be for everyone because it does create a bit of a volume here around your arms. So if you're if you know that's your that you don't want to highlight that area, so maybe that's not for you necessarily, but I think it should work really nicely because the body is gathered here at the hem around your waist. That should really create a nice silhouette, and the sleeves are just, yeah. Well, I'm in love with this one, and I hope it will translate through the camera, and you will fall in love too. I also have a new design on my needles, and I've been suffering a bit of a lack of knitting mojo, but I finished the yoke and then it's like just stuck in it. So I'm a bit delaying finishing the body until the mojo comes back. So yeah, I will show you the swatch. It is knit in one strand of Nutiden held together with a strand of silk mohair. For both main color and contrasting color. And designing this one, I was thinking about Tree of Life. So there is a lot of as well of not floral but plant-based motifs in here, and the swatch looked like this. So it will be like this way. It's actually, well, you will see it now. So the swatch looked like this, and what I did, I used two different shades of Nutiden to have this a bit of a tonal effect. And yeah, this is how the yoke looks. I think I'm already done with the yoke. I even did some short rows already, and look. So on this one I was too lazy to do the tonal thing, and I just did one contrasting color shade, and I think it's nice. I think it's really nice. What do you think? It is going to be a roomy sweater, because one of the things that I noticed with when working with Nutiden, if I do something more closely fitted, especially on the underarms, the yarn felts really, really fast. So you will have this bulky folded underarms, and for me that really shows the wear of the sweater. And I don't really like that. So I'm thinking to make a more spacious sweater so that my underarms will go a bit lower, and I will have more space between the body and the arms and between the armpits. So I hope that will prevent Nutiden from felting so fast, because yeah, you probably know what I mean, right? When the unspun yarn it falls really fast into this kind of chunk, and then it's not necessarily visible, but you know it's there. So the yoke is almost done, and I have to do a lot of stock in it now, and I'm still thinking if I should add a bit of pattern on the sleeves or the hem. Probably not the hem because it's already very busy in the top, but the cuffs here could have some of the patterning. This is how it looks. It goes with these flowers here, and then these are leaves just following down. A very botanical pattern again, and this gives me a lot of joy to work with. I really enjoy this kind of things. So I have already a million of other ideas, and if you don't get tired of these round yoke sweaters, I definitely won't be. So yeah, so this will be a next finished project for me. I also had a little bit of I didn't catch the floats here in the first row, so they kind of stick up a little bit, but I also like it, so that's another tiny little detail. But yeah, this is the back. So I already did some short rows here. It will be like this, you will see. I think it's very nice. Yeah. So let's see how fast I go with the body, because I always like to finish a sample first before I go for testers and write up the pattern. Well, many things can go wrong and maybe I'll need to change something, so I will have to finish it, and I like it that way. Finally, I'm ready to show you a bit of my embroidered project. So as a reminder, my grandma embroidered those sleeves I showed you before. So the sleeves were embroidered by my grandma, and these all were just cut-out pieces that I have to put together to make a garment. And this will be this is a design inspired by the traditional blouses from western part of Ukraine, where my father's grandma came, and it is a little bit different from what you see in other regions. So there is a lot of black here and red and yellow, but more black and red. So it might not be for everyone. I definitely know that many people won't like it because they would prefer some more red and flowers and things like that. But I really like this kind of more geometrical patterns and these colors. So I'm really happy with that. I put it together. I had to do the Raglan Seams, and I actually had to redo it twice because I wasn't happy with how I did it the first time. I do it partially by hand and partially with a sewing machine. So where I have like a long stretch of, like, a side seam or something, then I will just do it with a sewing machine, and some more delicate parts I do with my hand. I decided, instead of doing it super neatly on both sides, I did like this on the inside, so it will be, it's not hidden 100%. I will have this kind of rough edge on the inside, but what I did on the outside, it's a very gentle, nice seam here on the Raglan line. And yeah, I did the same everywhere, except of this outside touch with the stitching. I didn't do it on the side, so I only did it on the Raglan lines, and I think that worked really nicely. And now I'm at the sleeves, and I did the sides of the sleeves. I embroidered the cuffs I had to embroider the cuffs because I thought that just the white ones wouldn't be so nice. It would, yeah, I really like, I think, what it is. Then I had another fuck up with the cuffs because I embroidered it on a quite big piece of fabric, and then I had to cut them out to the real shape of the cuff that I needed, like to the circumference. And when I put it on, it was like, yeah, I have enough, that's nice. But it turned out a little bit too small, so there wasn't enough fabric. So yeah, this is how it looks. And my embroidered cuff. Yeah. So I was planning initially to have it like just circular and with a little bit of room, so I could just put the hand through and it would stay in place. So I wouldn't need to have a button here or anything. But because I cut it too close to the embroidery, I didn't have spare room when it turned out to be too narrow. So I would need to push through to get, well, you probably know what I mean, right? So, long story short, I decided to do the button. So there will be a button probably on the inside of the cuff, and there will be a loop. Yeah, it will be looking like this. So I had to as well unstitch some of the side seam of the sleeve and make this nice. Well, let me see how it's on the inside. So everything is hand stitch. And so I had to make this opening here, and now I have to, then I gathered the sleeve, ouch, that was a pin. Then I had to gather the sleeve with this ruffles, and I already seamed the cuff. I only need to do the inside of the cuff to like turn this down and finish the cuff like this, and of course put the loop in and do the button. So that's the situation now on both of the sleeves, and that's the next step here on the blouse. There's been a lot of learning involved. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube how to do certain techniques and how to do this gathering of the sleeve, this ruffling, and yeah, how to do everything. Basically, I have to learn by doing, because I've never done this before. This is my very first embroidered blouse, so there's a lot of learning involved, and I'm still wondering what to do with the neck, because well, traditionally you will have a cut here, and then this will be all gathered, and then you will have like tassels here to close this cutout thingy. But I'm not sure that I can make the cut and then work it nicely without, well, I don't know how to do the techniques to make it nice. So maybe I will keep I won't have the cut here, but I'm looking now for techniques to fold this edge, because now it's really rough. It's really rough now. Well, it's fixed with a stitch around it, but so when I'm probably not explaining this really well, but traditionally when back in the day when people made this kind of blouses, they used home woven fabrics, which the way they did the construction of the shirt, the sides of the fabric that faced their neck and sleeves, like the cuffs here, they used the edge that didn't need any additional stitching on it, so it wouldn't unravel. So the edge was already perfect. The only thing they had to do is to gather it together to make these ruffles, and yeah, that was it. But in modern fabrics, you you buy it by, I don't know, meters, and then you have to work with the edges and find a way to deal with them, because you can't just leave them like this. They will unravel. And yeah, so I'm looking for ways, and I'm wondering if because a simplest way probably would be to do like a cuff, just to have like a tiny like another piece of fabric folded above this edge and sewn to it, but I'm really not sure, because it could be too bulky, and I would imagine that, well, it has to be like this, and then you have your nice how do you call it? Necklace? No, it's not a necklace. Well, this one with a cross here. This one is called zgarda. We also have in my family, my mom has a nice, beautiful necklace like this, which I will receive as my how do you call this? Inheritance. So in theory, you will have a nice so your neck should not be attracting too much attention. So whatever happens here on the neck is focused on your necklaces, the beauty of the expensive necklaces. Yeah, so this is the focus point, and then your sleeves are the focus point. So the neck has to be simple but very accurate. Well, very neatly done. So I'm wondering, what shall I do, and how this actually, and how wide or narrow shall I do the neck as well. So this is one of the reasons why I started with the cuffs first. So then I will have the sleeves ready, and I can adjust then the lengths of the sleeves by adjusting the circumference of the neck line. Yeah, so it's a whole new universe for me, and since knitting before was my hobby and then it turned into a full-time job, now I feel like I finally found a hobby for myself, and that would be embroidery. And this is very exciting, but I'm already thinking about the next blouse that I want to embroider myself with like a whole proper construction, because this one is already a very modern construction of the blouse, where you just have a raglan sleeve and that's it. So you cut it like with the shapes, and traditionally you won't cut the fabric, because the fabric was hand woven at home and it was very precious. So there were no cutouts, nothing went to waste. So they will use rectangulars for everything. They will have a rectangular here, rectangular on the underarm, rectangular like everywhere. So the whole blouse was made with sewn together rectangulars, and that's exactly the technique that I want to try next. And when I showed the Ornata blouse to my mom, she said like, oh, you should have done something here before you do the increases here for the sleeves. You should have done some embroidery here as well. Well, embroidery, color work on the, how is it called? Well, you mean on this part on the shoulder, because that's how the blouses are usually made. This rectangular here is also covered with embroidery, but I thought it would be too much, so I didn't do that. But my mom always has an opinion, so that's something I'm learning to live with. And yeah, so I'm all over the place, as you can see today. I have millions of ideas, and yeah, I hope you'll be there for me to chat with about all this, and I hope you find it interesting, because yeah, I do. Crazy. And you see, I'm wearing a bit of my necklaces, and I have a big collection of them. These are ceramic beads that are made in they were made in Kosiv, in the region we visited last year when we were in in Ukraine, but I collected these necklaces for years and years, and I have them on different how do you call this, like different strands of them, but I want to make like maybe put them all together on one, and yeah, you see, have them all together, or maybe in like a nice combination of strands to easier wear them. Yeah, and I have more, so I have quite a lot of them, and I'm really looking forward to maybe wearing them a little bit more often, not just keep them in the closet. But yeah, so this will be another side project to make them all on a few strands that go together. Well, there is lots. And when I put them all together, it's gonna be like, I don't know, a few kilos on my neck. So I basically don't wear them very often. Yeah, you see? Гарна молодиця. I hope I wasn't rambling too much, because yeah. As you can see, I'm a little bit all over the place, but the projects I've been working on are really exciting, and I hope I can infect you a little bit with my excitement, and in this way share more about my culture and about my country, and yeah, help it somehow. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you everyone on Patreon for your support. And yeah, I see you soon in the next episode. Bye.